Welcome everyone to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist. On today's show, shopping for homeowners insurance and renters insurance, part 3 of our series on insurance protection and defensive planning with property casualty specialist Beth Glowacz. Beth, I want to talk again about property casualty insurance for homes, and we talked a little bit about this in the segment, kind of introduced some thinking.
Right.
Most people have a mortgage. So as we said in the prior segment, banks are going to kind of dictate minimum coverage.
Correct.
Now, when I bought homeowners insurance the first time, and this is when I was back in my 20s, I was a young man, knew nothing. I just bought the insurance, and I kept thinking, wait a minute, I'm not insuring the land, so I'm only insuring the house. It seems like a lot of money at the time, seemed like a lot of money. And the gentleman who was my agent said, oh, well, there's other things involved besides just the replacement of your house. And I said, well, like what? He says, well, let's say your postman comes to the door, your dog bites him, and he sues you. So I started thinking, wow, home ownership is your property. It's personal property.
Correct.
But there are a lot of things that are covered. Let's walk through some of the things that I think normal people don't think about. I just think about house replacement, right?
Right.
Taking care of the mortgage. I don't think about my liability. Somebody slipped on my icy sidewalk.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Homeowners, the minimum that we put is $100,000, but we always like to do at least $300,000 for the legal liability. If someone does injure themselves, and you have $300,000 to help you out.
To pay them if they sue you.
If they sue you. The animal liability is another one that you mentioned at the dog. It's insurance companies, if the animal is a certain breed, they don't even want.
Well, give me an example.
German Shepherds.
Serious?
Yep.
Wow.
Pit bulls.
They're out.
Yeah.
So is there specialty insurance for that?
There is. There are other, well, not especially insurance. There's carriers that will accept the risk, and they'll exclude it. They'll exclude any kind of animal bite or whatever liability. But the
So just to make sure I got this right.
Okay.
When I'm sitting in front of you, you're asking my dog pedigree?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me. So you're telling me, hey, it's not only, I need to know, do you have a dog? Yes, I do. And that
What's
dog
the breed?
what's his breed?
Exactly.
And so it matters. Wow, well, if you're thinking about purchasing, if you're watching the show today, you're thinking about purchasing a dog, you might want to check that out first.
Right.
So, so I have protection against my bad boy dog.
Right.
I have protection against the normal, say, slipped on my property, broke his arm or whatever, okay? What other things are put inside this homeowners?
You have loss of use, which is if you have a claim on your property and you're not able to stay at your home, they'll pay for your hotel, your meals, that kind of thing.
They pay for your hotel and meals? Any special hotel, or do they have a certain per diem?
They give you a certain amount for the length of the time. Like it's a 20%, I believe, 20%.
So you could wind up, they could take care of you if you don't go crazy, right, in your hotel selection.
Right.
You could have, and they include the food, that's pretty cool.
Anything, because you're out of your norm, you're out of your house, and if you have to do something like laundry that you normally wouldn't do, that would be covered too.
So really, when we're talking about this includes liability, somebody getting hurt, it can fire, whatever happens, wind damage, rain, hail, whatever. It could, my dog is a problem now.
Right.
Could be a problem, right?
Could be.
And we're talking about, hey, if I can't be in my house, I may need to relocate someplace else.
Exactly.
Okay, when I'm doing insurance, does it matter if I have things on my house like I have a sprinkler? I do. I have a sprinkler system.
In the house?
Yes, in the house.
That's excellent.
Is
you
that
get a discount?
So I'm getting a discount. Okay. If I have, I'm tied to the city for theft. My alarms are set up. Blah. Is that a little part of the package?
That is another discount.
So every time I do something in this vein, protecting my house through water sprinklers, protecting my house through, I have smoke alarms, and I also have a monoxide by my garage door.
Right. That's not one of the things, but the smoke and the burglary central monitored alarm, that's a big discount.
So all those are big deals. Now, we're in homeowners now, and I say to you, you're going to ask me what my property is worth in the house, not the house itself, but my personal property.
Actually, it's a percentage of the dwelling coverage A. So if you're $200,000, 50% of the $200,000, you can go all the way up to 70%.
Of the home value.
Of the dwelling limit.
Of the dwelling
home.
limit. Okay.
Coverage A.
All right, now let's just talk about this because I want to make sure everybody understands this because this has happened too many times in my career.
Okay.
Mother has a little jewelry collection.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth, the last one I just talked to was $8,000. I mean, she's got $8,000.
Mm-hmm.
Is that covered under traditional? She didn't declare it. She just said, here's my property, the 70% as you suggested.
Right.
Is that covered?
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. $500 limit on that part.
Okay.
She would have to schedule the jewelry.
Okay, so she has to schedule the jewelry. Now, in that same person, her son had a top-of-the-line Stratocaster guitar with a Marshall amp setup. That thing was almost worth as much as her jewelry was.
Right.
That has to be separate scheduled
Yes.
too. So everything that's odd. This guy, the one person
Guns.
had guns. So guns are separate.
Can be scheduled.
I have a person whose hobby is collecting beer steins. It's probably worth 8 to 10 grand. He'd have to have a separate schedule for this.
Yeah, you have to call underwriting and get special concerns, but for the most part, musical instruments, jewelry for sure,
Big.
guns, that type of thing, always need to be scheduled. And what they require is the appraisal of the jewelry or a sales receipt of the musical instrument. That's what they go by.
Okay, Beth, I'm going to ask you a big question. We have smartphones now. Everybody's got a camera. Should I be taking pictures of every single thing I have in that house? Does that help does the insurance company care? Or am I doing due diligence here by providing them, here's a picture of all my furniture, here's a picture of my special event issues? And
it's not a bad idea to do that if you want to take the time and do it.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, the reason I bring it up is because we were doing an estate plan for somebody, and we had to declare all the antiques, what child is going to get what antique. And I said to the gentleman, hey, is this insured beyond its normal furniture value? Because this is very expensive stuff here.
Right.
So they took pictures, got it on a regular separate schedule because it was very antique, separate. And so I'm thinking, if people are seniors and you have things going to your children, you were going to do this anyways to make sure Johnny gets this, Jill gets that.
Right.
You might as well just file this with your insurance carrier and give him the photos of everything so he sees you have it.
If you want to schedule it, yes.
Yeah, I would think you'd want to do that. So in my view, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at, okay, now, some people don't own a home.
Right.
So they're renting, right? Now, I've heard horror stories on this, so I just want to make sure all our consumers hear what you're going to say about renting. Let's say I'm going to rent a home. And what am I looking for in my renter's insurance? And I got to have that on that policy.
The renter's insurance is your personal property that you're bringing into that home, like your furniture, your clothing, what value that you have on that. Also, the liability, the legal liability. $100,000 is the minimum. For homes that have pools in the backyard, we always recommend higher liability.
Is it the landlord's responsibility or is it the renter's responsibility?
Every state's different, depending on the landlord or the renter. So I'm not able to say it on the show right now.
Okay. We had to rent a home in between our homes. We sold our home, we were buying a home, and they have a pool.
Right.
And he didn't have the lock on the pool, and we have kids.
Oh.
So is that is that my problem as the renter? Or I'm wondering
it should be a lock on the gate.
Should be a lock before.
Should be locked on
so
the
if
gate.
I'm going to rent a place, I need to look at the pool as the one you brought up. I better look at that and say, do you have a proper lock on that, and is the fencing high enough, and is it code?
Right.
So that's a landlord. Before I sign that issue, I got to find that out, right? Now, when I'm looking at this kind of thing, I'm renting. Do I have to do schedules the same way too?
Yes.
I have. So it's all separate.
If the renter has jewelry or engagement ring or a dinner ring that they don't want to lose by theft, then yes, they need to schedule it.
Okay. And have you found is there a difference in renters if I'm renting a home versus renting an apartment, or is it pretty much the same deal?
It's pretty much the same deal. It all goes back to, and it's based on credit as well. So the apartments nowadays in Texas, a lot of them are requiring the tenant to get renter's insurance strictly for the liability part of it. And they don't think they need it, but $20,000 minimum personal property and $100,000 liability is probably between $150 and $200 a year.
Yeah, let's just talk about just for a second. Renter's insurance, we're not talking a lot of money here.
No.
For a whole year.
For a year.
You stroke a check, $150, you're done.
Right.
Why are they not thinking about this?
I don't
Why
know.
are
I think they
about it?
think that's not going to happen to them. That's what people think when it's insurance. Oh, I'll take my chances, you know, but we highly recommend it.
Any of your clients said they'll take the chances and they're sorry about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They are.
what's the day after, the next morning after something negative goes down in your life and you didn't cover it because you thought you were going to be unique and not have any problems?
Yeah. You're depressed.
Yeah. It's a scary thought.
It is.
Well, listen, don't forget to watch our next part of our series, Part 4, on insurance protection and defensive planning, shopping for auto insurance. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on the show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.